Quilting is one of the last steps in completing your quilt, and it holds all the layers together. The quilting style you choose is another design element for your quilt and can make a big difference in how your quilt looks and feels. A quilt with tight, dense quilting will be more stiff than a quilt with less quilting. For this first block, I'm going to quilt with a 1/4 inch outline. This is a fairly typical beginner quilting technique where you will stitch inside your block a 1/4 inch. Once your quilting stitches are in, we need to finish off the ends so that the stitching doesn't come undone. To do this, we'll tie the ends of our thread together and then thread them both through a needle and bury them inside the quilt. Bring the needle back up through the top and then clip the ends close. The thread should disappear within the quilt. You'll need to bury the threads of any quilting stitches that start or stop within your quilt. When all blocks are quilted, it should look like this. For this next block, I'm going to use a stitch in the ditch quilting technique. This is a subtle quilting technique that lets the piecing shine. To do this, I want to stitch in the seams of my piecing. I'm using white thread now, but you may want to use a thread that matches the majority of your quilt top, or use a clear thread for the most subtle quilting. I'm going to start by stitching my vertical and horizontal seams. Now I'm going to stitch the half square triangle seams. When the quilting is finished, it should look something like this. For this final block, I'm going to do straight line quilting, 1/2 inch apart. I'm going to mark my center line diagonally using my Hera marker and ruler. Then I'll stitch down this center line. My next line will be stitched 1/2 inch over, and I'll use the edge of my presser foot to mark this distance. Once my lines are stitched, my block will look like this.